Hi, everyone. Hey, Philip.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, not too bad yourself.
Yeah, good. I'm just, it's come
Figuring it
out
out.
on this. This is the first one I've ever done. Yeah.
Yeah, me
Um,
too. We should let people know.
ah,
I think we're live. Hi, everyone. Hi, Eileen. This is live, so we have people logging in now. So, um, yeah, we have 53 people. Um, we'll ask them a few questions later. So Philip, so this is your first Instagram live?
it is indeed. I
Yeah.
think I probably need to put the phones in
Okay.
so that you can hear me better, don't I? I'm sorry.
This
Um,
is okay. I think I can hear you. No. Should we first
there we
thank
go.
Meech? Meech suggested you and I don't know if maybe we should thank her after, see how it
Yeah,
goes.
I will see how it goes.
But thank you, Meech, down in Auckland. So I thought Meech thought that this would be a good idea for us to maybe talk a bit about what we're doing. So I thought maybe, I wanted to introduce people. Maybe Philip, if you want to do a quick introduction about what Les Mills does, because you do so more than the programmings that you're so famous for. So you're the founder and executive director of Les Mills. So maybe give us all a brief introduction of what you guys do.
Sure. Well, look, I'm not actually the founder. My mum and dad founded our chain of gyms
Okay.
in New Zealand in 1968. And
Wow.
before that, my great uncle had gyms in Auckland in the 1920s and 30s. So I came into the picture when I was a teenager cleaning the locker rooms and in 68. And I sort of took over the business during the 80s. And we
Okay,
had
no
chain of,
sound. So I'm getting some message, no sound. Can you guys hear me? Or can you not hear Philip?
but you can hear me, Colin.
I can hear you, yeah.
People can't hear
I've
me.
got a thumb
What?
up from Noel in Singapore, yeah. I can hear, so a few people can hear. Yep, they can hear. I think we're okay. Yep, we're good.
Hmm.
Thank you. Okay, let's
Can
carry on.
they?
Sorry.
Can they hear? Can you hear Colin, uh, people,
I think
or is it just
both.
me that you can't hear?
Both. We're all good now. All good. I think,
Okay,
okay, carry
okay,
on.
all
So, yeah,
good.
so you're saying,
I'll fire away again. And my
yeah,
parents, I'm not the founder, my parents opened our
so,
chain of gyms in New Zealand in 1968. And I started then as a schoolboy cleaning the locker rooms. And I took over the chain in
geez.
the 80s. And we had a chain of gyms throughout New Zealand and Australia. In 1980, I started our group fitness. I'd been living in the US during the birth of aerobics there, and I brought it back to New Zealand. And we just sort of evolved from there into making group fitness classes and more group fitness classes. I created Body Pump in 1990, and yeah, just a funny little niche business that's evolved, and now we supply our classes to 21,000 clubs around the world, which of course Pure is one of our favorite ones.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we and all of our members love your programs. So, um, quick background on myself, Colin Grant. I'm actually, so Philip is in Auckland right now, where it's 2 o'clock Monday
2 o'clock
afternoon.
in the afternoon,
Two
yes.
o'clock, yeah, yeah. And I'm in Hong Kong in my apartment here, and it's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. in Hong Kong Monday morning. So I work for a company called Pure Yoga and Pure Fitness, and we have yoga studios and fitness centers in Hong Kong, Singapore, Shanghai, and Beijing. And I started the company with a good friend of mine, Bruce Rockowitz, back in 2002. We opened up our first studio then, and going at it ever since. So Phil, I thought maybe tell us about the situation you're currently in down in kind of Auckland, New Zealand, and the state, the clubs,
Sure.
and what's going on. Yeah.
Sure. Well, look, we're in complete lockdown. The New Zealand government has taken a really strict approach. They've said that we want to get rid of the disease completely, and we hopefully can do that in New Zealand. There are only 5 million people here, and we have it's very difficult to permeate our borders. It's a long swim from anywhere,
Mm.
uh, and uh, and so we think that we can reduce it to just about nothing. And so we've been in a complete lockdown. You're not allowed to. It's the end of summer here. You're not allowed to go swimming at the beach. You're very strict,
Wow.
and we hope that on this Thursday the government will allow us, as an announcement later this afternoon, but they will allow us to step down a level to where restaurants can provide takeaway food or home deliveries and things like that. So still not a big step down. Gyms won't be able to open. We expect that'll be at least another few weeks after that. And we're really preparing for that, hoping that our economy will start to open up this week, and in a couple of weeks the gyms will be able to open under very strict conditions for us to minimise any potential transmission of the disease back in New Zealand.
Right. So all of your clubs have been shut for, is it almost a month now? 3
Yes.
weeks? Wow, all shut. Wow. And so for us in Hong Kong, so we've been shut almost a month now as well. Singapore's been shut over 3 weeks. Our clubs in Shanghai shut and Beijing shut on January.
Colin, you've frozen, right?
Is that better?
No. Yeah, you're back. I had the circle of death for a minute, but you're back.
Okay,
That's
sorry. So Beijing is still shut. Some of our clubs have opened in Shanghai. So we're kind of in different phases by city. But at the moment, the closure order for gyms in Hong Kong is meant to be lifted on Thursday.
I've lost you again, but yeah, good luck. I hope that
there we go. Sorry. Yeah,
and I'm sure a lot of the people who are listening and watching will be hoping that the gyms are going to be able to open on Thursday as well for you.
Yeah. I mean, they're all, everyone's eager. We're trying to get out. So yeah, I've been in my apartment for the better part of a month and still. And now, what are you seeing the trends during this lockdown, not just in New Zealand, but globally? How are people staying healthy? What are they doing?
Sure, the huge trend has been to online, and we've just seen a massive growth in online, and that is, it's interesting. It may be something that's going to stay. Before COVID, we had a lot of research that showed that about 85% of people who work out in gyms also work out at home. So this is a trend that has been growing, but a lot of people are saying, wow, I didn't realize how good the quality was of online content, including me. You know, we've been making it, but I don't tend to do Les Mills on demand at home. But since I've been forced to, I really love it. You know, I found if you watch it on a big TV especially, I don't like to do online exercise on a phone, but if you watch Les Mills on demand, you know, where we put a lot of effort into filming at a really high quality level, you watch it on a big TV, it's a wonderful experience. So I've been personally enjoying it. I've been riding my bike. You are allowed to ride your bike sort of around the block, and I've got a little 20-minute circuit that I ride furiously every second day. Alternate that with Les Mills on demand.
Right, so that's your routine. So you cycle every day, you get out, and then you do some classes.
Cycle every second day, and then I do classes every second day, do body pump or body balance. And that's a big trend around the world. You know, that's just millions and millions of people have started doing online exercise. I think that people, you know, we're social animals, and we are going to want to get back into the gym and just be around people as soon as we can. Like I say, even before COVID, people were exercising, people who came to the gym were exercising at home as well. I don't personally think from the surveys that we're seeing, most people do want to get back to the gym. So I think the gyms will get going again quickly. There'll be maybe a little percentage of people who are going to be a little bit wary about it for a while, depending on to what degree we've dealt with the disease. But there's lots and lots of precautions you can take. You can wear masks, and we're starting to see some cool fancy masks on the market. There could be a new fashion item for the gym, and gloves, you know, for free weights, rather than having to wipe down every individual weight when you load it on and off a bar or dumbbell. You know, wearing some nice sort of cloth gloves and silk gloves and things that we're starting to see on the market around the world. So lots that we can do to make ourselves feel safer in the gyms and to make them safer. Yeah.
So are you and your team getting ready, planning and strategizing for kind of the gym of the future when you open, you know, the measures you're going to have to take? Can you maybe share a few of your ideas? Because we've gone through that as well. mandatory temperature checks, declaration forms, all sorts of things. What are you guys
We
looking at?
we got a lot
Yeah.
of our ideas from you, Colin, because you
Oh,
were
I
forced to
see.
shut
Okay.
before we were. So
Yeah.
we'll be doing the temperature checks. The 2 meter spacing, not more
Yeah.
than 2 square meters. Not less than 2 square meters per person in Group X. Lots and lots of cleaning regimes. Contact tracing is another very important one. Our government said it's important for if gyms want to open, you're going to need to have contact tracing. So everybody who comes into the gym, we're going to need to have their online details, so that if it does turn out that there's something happened, we can immediately contact them, and we can track anybody who infected people have been in contact with. And that's a pretty big, powerful one. That's one that's worked well in Germany, and has really helped to slow the spread of it.
Yeah. And you kind of touched on it earlier. So you see the clubs being as busy as they were before, maybe even busier, but then with maybe more people also practicing online. So kind of both are going to come out stronger in the long term.
Some of the well, look, that'd be a great thing. If people wind up exercising more, then that's got to be a great thing for society. What we've seen in really right up until shutdown in a lot of countries, the gyms were just as packed as ever. Even in Sweden is one of the few places in the world where they haven't had real lockdown. One of the two biggest chains there, Sats, did close for 2 weeks and then opened again. But with the big chains like Nordic Wellness, they're maybe 20-25% less participation going on, but still pretty strong participation there. So I think people are going to come back, and we've seen some surveys that have said the vast majority of people do want to get back into the gym as soon as they can. In countries that have shut and opened again, it looks like it's it takes about 2 weeks to get up to that 75-80% of previous attendance level. Of course, the US is due to open this week, where the governors allow it and where the state governors allow it, and that's going to be fascinating. That's going to be lots and lots of big data for us on how many people are going to come back and how quickly.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So as I said, we closed our clubs in Shanghai end of January. They started opening up about a month ago. And they open with restrictions, like you said. So group exercise, actually for the first few weeks, we couldn't have any. Then the maximum size was 10 people in a room where you would normally get, say, 40. You had the declaration form you had to fill out when you checked in, mandatory temperature checks, extra cleaners all over the club, hand sanitizers, hand gel, all those things. Mm-hmm. No showers. We opened with no showers as well. It was interesting. So when we first opened, it was very restricted and capacity. So in a gym that normally would have maybe 150 people at a time, the maximum capacity was 50. Right. And people had to make an appointment. So we had slots every day, and they would make an appointment, come and work out. And in between each slots, we had some downtime where we would clean the club, disinfect the club. But that's all been lifted already in Shanghai. So the Shanghai government has been very supportive. I mean, they've got to find a balance between opening up businesses, yes, but making sure it's done in a safe way, which we feel, because this is not a race you want to win. Slow and steady wins a race. You've got to, because once you're on top of it, you want to stay on top of the virus. And so we've been very supportive. I think they've been very smart. And now, the club, the one we look at, which is in Shanghai and IAPM, is getting, it's up to about 75-80% of check-ins.
Oh, that's great to hear. That is wonderful to hear. Yes, we want to make this, the gym's a really safe place to be. We don't want our industry to be closed down again. And we know all the arguments around that. People need gyms. Gyms are very important for people's health. So, when we're balancing health issues, it's very important that we keep gyms open, that people keep their immune systems up by exercising. And they keep other illness, heart disease and cancer and all of those things down. So it's very important for countries' national health that we do keep the gyms open, that we govern them well, we're very careful with this, but that we do get people exercising.
Yeah. So are you working with the New Zealand government on the guidelines and measures about how the fitness industry might open up?
Yes, we are, and I am personally involved in that negotiation. I just came off a call a minute ago around some of the regulations under which we are going to be able to offer, and there's a lot of really good thinking. We've had the benefit of looking at the stuff that you guys have done, and a little bit more time, and there's lots of good thinking about how we can make the gyms safe without really, completely taking the fun out of them. And people need to be motivated to exercise. That's where I always say we're as much in the motivation business as we are in the exercise business. We've got to make going to the gym fun, and so ways that we can do all of that and keep it safe as well.
Yeah, no, it's safe, and also we need people to feel confident that when they come in, it is going to be a safe environment, that we have taken the right measures and that we're doing the right thing. And so we've actually reached out to the government in Hong Kong to be part of that discussion here. And sharing our experiences up in Shanghai that have proven to be successful. I think it is very important. And I totally agree with what you said, Philip, about, listen, a healthy population is so important. And a lot of that is around being active and eating well, and that helps you have a strong immune system, which is your first line of defense against getting sick. So it is important. And I think, what do you think might be some of the big trends in our industry, in the fitness coming out of this? What do you think? I'm talking maybe in the coming years. Is there any thoughts on that?
I think that online is likely to grow, to get a boost out of this. I think that a lot of the trends that have been occurring they're gonna keep on. The gyms are going to keep on evolving. We've seen incredible new types of group workout that have been created, and you guys are doing a lot of that stuff. You're doing a lot of our newer classes like the Trip and like Ceremony and Conquer and some of your clubs. And that's wonderful stuff. We're finding better and better ways. Innovation and competition are driving the industry to find better ways of getting results and motivating people. I think that gaming will grow. Gaming will be something that increases, but the live gym is going to continue. It's just like with live music. People love the motivation and the atmosphere that you get from being there live. One of the things that we're seeing live streaming is the quality of it isn't very good. It's nowhere near as good as pre-produced stuff that's had a lot of time going into it, but there's a nice feeling, when you see somebody broadcasting from their living room and you see other people sort of chatting online about it. That there's a nice communal feeling about that. So I think the technology around that will grow as well.
Yeah, and what do you think about how people run clubs? A lot more touchless, temperature checks could carry on. Hygiene is a much bigger focus at the club level as well. You think all those things are probably going to be here for a while?
Look, I think that stuff's going to get better and better. Again, it had started to occur really just before. We've been testing in one of our clubs in New Zealand a very high-tech air purification system, which kills COVID, kills any disease very quickly, and actually even kills it on surfaces within about 3 minutes. Kills it on surfaces. There are a number of companies around the world who are producing products like that, and I think originally for hospitals, but that is starting to spread into gyms. I think that we will see stuff like that. I hope that we don't all have to wear masks as fashionable as they might be designed. I hope we're not going to have to wear those to go to the gym forever. I don't think we will. I think that we will beat this one, and that we'll go back to most things being the way they were around gyms, with maybe more of a focus on hygiene, as you say.
Yeah. No, so we in Hong Kong, we went through SARS in '03, so our clubs were open back then. SARS seems to be a different virus to COVID, but we stayed open back in '03. The clubs, they certainly dropped off during the height of SARS in about Q2 '03, but things picked up very quickly afterwards. We saw, obviously with social, it's a different environment now with social media, and a lot more availability of online content. But we did see a big pickup very quickly after SARS in '03, people wanting to come back, and also prioritizing their health far more than they did before SARS, realizing that they were in control of their health, and they played a part in exercising regularly, being active, eating properly, eating healthy food, and so we may see a similar thing out of this, where people do value their health more. They know they're in control of it, but at the same time, we've got to provide a safe environment for them to come in, and enjoyable, right? It's got to be fun. And I think what we're looking at in Hong Kong is we think, so we're meant to be opening on Friday at the moment. We're waiting for an announcement, but I'm not sure that, we're down to, so what's the trend line of cases in New Zealand at the moment in the last, say, week or so?
We've come down to about a dozen new cases a day over the weekend. Okay. We've had 12 deaths in New Zealand, but we'd only had 2 deaths until a week or so ago, and most of the deaths have occurred in two retirement villages, 2 aged care homes where the disease has gotten into and killed quite a few older people there. That's that population who are really at risk here. That, as we all know, there are not many young people that are dying of this. If you're young and healthy, this is most unlikely to kill you, as long as you don't have a compromised immune system or some other underlying health problems. But we do have to be very careful about sharing it with older people. We've got to be careful, unfortunately, about visiting our parents and our grandparents. And I guess I'm an older person. I'm 65 now, but I'll take responsibility for keeping myself healthy and eating well and keeping my immune system up. I'm living with my grandchildren now. Our grandchildren are and their parents had just sold their house before Christmas, and we've had them living with us.
Are you upstairs on your own?
I am, yes. I'm upstairs hiding from them right now, up in the attic. But I'm going to be exposed to it when kids go back to school, and I take that as my responsibility, really. To keep myself healthy and fit, and, as you say, eat well, keep my vitamin D levels up, and make sure that I've got a good immune system. I don't want to see the economy destroyed for my children and my grandchildren for the sake of protecting me. And my dad, Les Mills Senior, who is 85, says the same thing. He says, I'll take responsibility for this myself. He exercises hard and eats well, and says, don't do this to protect me. He said, I'll isolate myself and eat well and keep exercising well. I don't want to see the economy destroyed for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. So, you've always sort of got that balance.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
No, I agree. Yeah. So in Hong Kong, we've had about a week of single-digit cases. So they've done a pretty good job. I think Hong Kong, with the experience that we went through with SARS, the government was well prepared. I think the people in Hong Kong were well prepared. Wearing masks was not a problem. Wearing masks was easy. When we rolled out the mandatory temperature checks, no problem. Members loved it. It made them feel better. Perception is reality. And so I think Hong Kong were, I think, in total 1,024, roughly 1,030 cases. We've had some deaths, but not many, and the government's done a very good job. And so the key thing is, so we actually were on top of it early on, and then we got a second spike with a lot of imported cases, because other countries are tightening up. The border was going up. A lot of people rushed back. And so we were going single digits of cases, and then it spiked up to 20, 30, 40, 50 for about a week or so. But it has come down. They have tightened up here on the border. They have a good healthcare system. So with about a week or so of single digit cases, mostly imported, the government, again, a lot of establishments, cinemas, bars, gyms, karaoke, mahjong parlors, all these places will close down, which I believe was the right thing to do. And some of them will be opening up perhaps on Friday. We are waiting to hear, but it's important that we do the right thing. But I think Hong Kong had the benefit of that experience from '03, and they did practice social distancing very quickly, and they took it seriously. And working from home, a lot of people, civil service, have been working from home for about a month now.
Well, you have a culture. You do have a culture of mask wearing, and
Yep.
that's going to be a new thing for us. It's we haven't had that culture. This is it's going to be interesting to see how people take to that. If you wear a mask, up until now, if you wear a mask in Auckland, it's pretty unusual, and people will look at you and think that you're badly ill if you do that.
Yes.
But really, more and more, the research is showing that masks are good to stop the spread.
Yes.
It's they will protect us to a certain extent, but they will they will help stop the spread. So I think we will see a lot more people wearing masks. It may be compulsory to wear masks in New Zealand in the gym. We're not sure of that yet.
You mean for the short term?
In the short term, yeah.
Yeah. Which they've done in Shanghai. They've since relaxed. It's been, I think, we've been open just over a month, but they're looking at relaxing that now because they have no cases up in Shanghai. But no, it's interesting. We're eagerly waiting to hear what the government is going to announce in the coming days about the opening up. But I think culturally, Hong Kong has been prepared and have done a good job. It's funny, I've been speaking to a number of gym operators around the world, and because we've opened up in Shanghai and explaining what we did and how we manage it and what the members' kind of reaction was. And the one thing I say when I say, listen, we put in place the mandatory temperature checks in our clubs in Hong Kong at the end of January. And they were like, really? So how does that work? I said, well, people come in and you zap from there, or sometimes on the wrist you get a temperature. Oh, yeah, we're thinking about that, mate. And I'm like, don't think about it. Do it.
Yeah, we've gone. We learnt that one from you. We've gone for that one straight away. How about you, Colin? What are you doing to keep fit? What are you doing for exercise? For diet?
Yeah. So there's a nice walk near my apartment, so I do that every morning. I start my day. I'm up early. So I get up at about 6, do a walk for about an hour and a half, come back, do some yoga, look at an online class, do some yoga. But my family, so I'm here on my own at the moment. My family is in Canada. They're in Whistler. They went there. The school's closed many months ago, so they're all there. So I FaceTime them every day in the morning. They might actually be watching from Whistler. So I'm trying to get them back, but I'm exercising. You have to. I mean, I've been here a month, right? You go crazy. I really need the workout, and I can't wait to get back in the gyms and yoga studios. And I'm eating healthy, lots of fruit, lots of salad, lots of greens. It's important. I think that to me, this is an opportunity to really fine tune your lifestyle, so that you come out of this feeling much better. It's within our control, right? You can see people. Are they going to come out of this and be negative, upset, or are they going to come out stronger, feeling better because they've made good use of this time? I'm reading more, and so I think it's a good opportunity for people to look at this in a different light.
We're seeing an interesting split of people. I'm hearing some people are saying, yes, I've really used this time to focus on my health, and I'm exercising every day, and partly because it stops me from going crazy during lockdown, and I'm eating really well. And there's a lot of people who are saying, oh, I just can't motivate myself. I'm eating, I'm sitting around home all day, and I'm eating a lot more junk food. And I think that's a little bit of what you said before. A lot more people are going to want to be healthy and exercise more coming out of this. And I guess that'll be one of the things that the gym has a responsibility for, to look after those people. That's where we can play a really good part in society. But it's interesting the different motivation levels between different people. Some people are going to come out of it actually fitter and stronger, and some people are going to come out of it really going to, they're looking in the mirror and saying, oh no, this is bad. I'm going to have to do something about this as soon as we leave lockdown. My advice is...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, my advice is, try some of the online classes. They really are motivating. And the music factor is such a big one. You know, I went down to put on an online class on the TV the other day, and my granddaughter was watching Frozen 2 or something on the TV, and so Granddad had to take second row, and I got the weights, and I started lifting weights, with the pump bar, and I just thought, this is so boring. I don't have the motivation, so I ran up and I got my music and I plugged the music in. Away I went. I sort of did three times as much exercise. So the music, having your playlist, having your music is such a great motivator to get you exercising. I wear my my earphones and play my music when I'm riding the bike, and I just ride around with a big smile on my face, and people ride past me and look at me like, what's this guy smiling about? Is he an idiot or something? And other people smile and wave, think I'm smiling at them, but the music really just helps. It's such a great motivator to get you exercising.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. I've got my playlist. I've listened to some of the songs way too much. I've got a few new ones that I listened to this morning. So I was actually walking a bit faster. But no, music does play a big part. But I think, to your point, I think, because I find the same, that I've got friends that are working out more. When I talk to them, they're positive, they're reading, they're exercising, they're eating well, and they're just really, really positive about this. And there's other people that are, how's your day? Hit the fridge, and I went in the kitchen a few too many times again today. And it's almost like it's almost either a downward spiral or an upward spiral. And I think we're going to see, both groups are going to want to get into the gym when they come out, because the ones that are healthy see the benefit, right? They're feeling mentally and emotionally better.
And I'm seeing a comment on the screen from Eileen, still prefer to go back to the studios. And me too. I want to go back. I want to see my friends, I want to go back to the teachers whose classes I love. I go to Kylie Gates' body balance class every Wednesday afternoon, and I love that to bits, and I love the trip. I love to some of our trip teachers here in Auckland, Elodie and Laura, and all my friends that I go to classes with. And I want to go back and do that and have a coffee with them afterwards. All of those sorts of things that I really miss.
Yeah, that social interaction, we all miss that. I can't wait to go out, and I love talking to you on a screen, Phil. I can't wait to get to Auckland and have a glass of wine with you, like we've done before. But it's getting out and socializing, getting back to normal. Why don't we, while we can carry on, but I'll just ask if any of the viewers, if you've got any questions you'd like to ask Philip or myself, please put them out. I saw a room said hi. Hi, May, one of our group X in Singapore. Big Les Mills. We've got the Les Mills virtual and pure online. So we're doing a lot of online. What are you guys doing, Philip, your team's doing to engage with members during this lockdown to keep them healthy? You've got your Les Mills on demand, right?
Yes, we've got Les Mills on demand, and we're doing some live streams, and we are doing some one-on-one personal training stuff. We're putting out lots of interesting articles and videos for people to watch and learn from. I think education is a good form of motivation. So articles on good nutrition and the best ways to exercise, all of that sort of thing. Lots of probably really most of the same stuff that I think you guys are doing.
Yeah. Actually, someone asked a question, this is to you, said, any more like high-tech things like the trip? Anything else along those lines?
We are working on what is called Live Plus. So it could be a little way away. It probably won't be until next year, but we're working on creating trip-like graphics to go behind the teachers and other classes, just as an extra form of motivation. So not, a full wall like the trip, but maybe a 9-screen mosaic or, a sort of a 4-screen by 2 or something like that, with a lot of graphic content, kind of stuff like the trip that you can put behind a dance class, or beautiful scenery that you can put behind a yoga class. And we have been trialing a lot of that, and some of it's pretty nice. We haven't ironed the bugs out of it yet, but it's something that is coming soon. And I know that Pure will be one of the first, if not the first in the world to try it.
Thank you. No, we're always keen. I remember when we launched the trip in our Lan Kwai Fong studio, I think we worked very closely with your team, and it just, yeah, it's those classes are so popular, and we have one in Singapore, and we have two in Shanghai. So, and we have the 180 degrees. I don't think there are too many in the world.
Not too many in the world. I think you guys were the first one. I think you had the first trip studio outside of New Zealand. It might have, or you were the second. It might have been 24-hour fitness in Santa Monica in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
One of you two were the first, and you did the big 270-degree one, which is pretty cool. One of the ones that we've got in New Zealand, we've got in our big Auckland club, we've got one which is a 20-meter wide screen, and that's got 100 bikes in the studio, and that's pretty crazy as well. It's
and
like being in an
we did a class, and you've got the ceremony and the conference.
That's right.
Next to
That's
it.
right. Yeah, you came in. Yeah, you came in.
Exactly.
I remember now.
That was great. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah. And that used to be. You kind of had a CrossFit space.
That was a CrossFit space, and that garage was it was a big old originally parking garage, and it was the biggest CrossFit studio in New Zealand. We had the national CrossFit champs there 2 or 3 years running. But in terms of the number of people, we had about 500 people a week going through CrossFit in that space. You know, it's a big space, 1,000 square meters, 10,000 square feet. I'm not sure which one Hong Kong works on. And we have gone from 500 a week to 5,000 people a week going to the Trip and Ceremony and Conquer. Put those 3 boutique studios in there. So, yeah, that's a little bit of the evolution of the industry, you know, group exercise, different new types of group exercise. There's been some wonderful new types of classes that have been created in boutiques often around the world. And now the big clubs, the big box clubs around the world like ours and like yours are starting to add the boutique classes. I think sometimes doing them even better. And that's a good thing. You know, innovation is a wonderful thing, and competition is a wonderful thing for the industry.
Yeah, no, I remember coming down and taking the Conquer and Ceremony classes, and you were kind enough to let us. So we have our boutique concept in Hong Kong, one of our clubs. It's called Fuse, and we've offered those classes. They're tough. People love them. People love them. Yeah, we got Fuse is awesome, and the Conquer and Ceremony classes, and we're going to be rolling out in another gym in Hong Kong. So I think, do you think technology is going to play a greater role in our industry? An even greater role? I mean, it's already important.
Yeah, look, I often look at our industry in terms of the evolution of our industry, in terms like of the evolution of motivation. So I remember when I started working as a gym instructor, you know, maybe around the early 70s, something like that. And we really just had barbells, and we had the old wind resistance bikes. And one of my jobs was to give people magazines on the bike, you know, because it was so boring. And I'd walk around giving them magazines to read. You only keep people on the bikes for about 5 minutes. And then you had computerized bikes, you know. You had in the early 80s the life cycles and some of the other ones with your little computer screen. And if you look at what they did with the little dots, it was pretty terrible. But, you know, people thought it was wonderful, very sexy. And then we had cardio theater, and then we had spinning. And things just got more and more motivating. And then we had, you know, some of the new types of spinning classes like Soul Cycle. And then we had the Trip. So you've had, you know, with each evolution of exercise bikes, you've had more and more motivating ways to do them. And I think the same thing with the old free weights. We went from free weights to pin-loaded machines and, you know, then to body pump. With the music motivating you, the teacher motivating you, the crowd energy, and you do about 1,000 reps in a pump class. I can't believe how much exercise you do. You know, I'd sort of stopped doing pump. I was doing ceremony. I love ceremony. I've been hooked on ceremony and the Trip. I'd been doing 1 ceremony class a week, but I just have started doing body pump again on the on-demand classes. It is hard. It is so much work. That's a huge workout that you get, but it's motivating. You know, I love the feeling again of the music and the power of doing that with the strong, motivating music and exercises and 1,000 reps. 1,000 reps, you're going to get results.
Yeah, that's for sure. But you've touched on the importance of music, and that's so true. People forget. And now, obviously, with playlists and iTunes and mobile devices, people are walking around with these in their ears, and and to some degree, that I think motivates people and gets them in the club more often and for longer. And then also you've got these fitness apps, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm seeing in a lot of our clubs now, people, they've got their phone and they're not FaceTiming with a friend. What they're doing is that it's calorie counting or rep counting or comparing workouts or look at progression. And I think it's very, very interesting that technology can definitely play an important role in keeping people motivated, getting into the clubs more often and staying in the clubs rather than reading a magazine on a treadmill like they used to. It's a big opportunity. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I'm saying, you go.
Yeah, just if there's any questions, any particular questions, there was one there.
I saw a question there about, can you send your personal trainers around to our homes? We can't do that under the rules of lockdown in New Zealand. I don't know about Hong Kong, but a lot of personal trainers are coming into people's homes now via live streaming, and I think that is something that is going to grow. You'll come to the gym for some of your personal training workouts. It's great to have somebody there physically correcting your technique and loading the bar for you and all of that. But this is something that's, again, maybe there's going to be a little bit more of our personal trainers are going to do some of the stuff live in the gym and some of it via live screening at home, where they can't load your bar and physically correct you, but they can say, hey, straighten your back a bit there, Joe, and work a little bit harder, that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. So we've launched online privates and online PT in the last week or so. So we're on the back of the current situation. But to this, it's hard for our teachers to go to people's houses. We just got to be practicing, social distancing at the moment and do the right thing. All of our clubs are closed for a reason, a good reason. And so we're playing our bit and doing what we can to make sure Hong Kong bounces out of it, like you guys are doing in Auckland. It seems like New Zealand's done a pretty good job of flattening the curve or just nailing it down. I mean, especially compared to a lot of other countries.
Yes, I think our government has done a great job. We got on it early, and they, with the very strict closures, and as I said, our borders, we may actually be able to completely squash this, or near enough to that, if we apply good sort of going forward rules around social distancing and contact tracing, and that it could be that we can avoid another shutdown in this country. So I think it's been the right thing to do in New Zealand, but it's going to be very difficult for our tourism industry. There are our foreign students. That's a big industry for us. Those are industries that are really going to suffer until we're allowed to open our borders again. But our government really is talking about keeping our borders closed for, until there's a cure, till there's a vaccine or a cure. And that could be a long time, as we know. That could be a year or more. And that is going to make it very difficult for some industries. I have my sister and brother-in-law and their kids are down near Queenstown, and they've got a homestay business for tourists, and the kids were in recreation and hospitality, and that's gone. You've got a whole family completely out of work, out of business, and out of work now, and that is a very difficult thing for the country to deal with. So I don't know quite how we're going to do that. We're hoping that we're going to have a lot more internal tourism. We're hoping that maybe we will be able to start a bubble that includes Australia, so that we'll have New Zealand-Australia tourism. But, it's possible that you won't be able to come to New Zealand unless you're prepared to go into quarantine for 14 days after you get here, that you won't be able to do that for 12 to 18 months.
Wow. Yeah, but if it's necessary, that's what it's going to take, right? That's the thing. Yeah, the alternative is not worth giving it a chance. But let's see if there's any more questions. So if anyone has any more questions, can Pure consider to be a certification center for Les Mills instructors? We do trainings here, right? We do work with your master trainers, Phillip. So I think we do a fair bit. Yeah, well, you guys are very supportive. You send a lot of your superstars through here. We're very happy.
Somebody and that's great. They love coming to Pure. Pure really are one of one of the top gym chains in the world, and everybody loves the chance to visit or teach at Pure. Somebody just said that not enough room at home to do exercise. Some things you can do in a very small space, really. Something like body pump or like yoga, or our yoga class, body balance. You can do those in a very small space. I would think that it is possible to rearrange your living room. Hopefully.
Yeah. Someone's asking maybe we should do a survey to gauge people's intention. We could consider that's a good idea. We're working very hard on a whole bunch of measures to really try and. How are we doing? Can you see me?
I've lost you. I can't see you. I can hear you, but I can't see you, Colin. Look, that's an interesting one. What we found with past recessions is that they haven't touched the gym industry. Really, exercise has been on such an upward growth path that it's been one of those things. It was there were big surveys after the global financial crisis that said going to the gym was the last or the second to last thing that people would let go of. Even unemployed people, the gym was such an important part of their lives that they would keep going to the gym. But in this case, it's different. We've been forced to close by government decree. We have been forced to close, and that is going to be interesting to see how we bounce back off that. But the surveys that have been done indicate that people do still, the vast majority of people do strongly want to come back into the gym.
Yeah, sorry if I can hear you. Hopefully you can hear me, but.
Yes, I can hear you. We just can't see you, I think. Somebody said double tap the screen. We'll switch the camera around.
That's April. No? She's my son. There we go. Thank you. See, this is my first time like you, Philip. I have no idea. Apologies. This is why technology is so important. Thank you, April. I think we've got a plan for the future and get ready for these openings and do the right thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Any other questions, people? Anything at all that you would like to ask us? Almost anything.
Almost. So you think you might be able to go from level 4 to level 3 in the coming days?
There's an announcement this afternoon whether we can go back to level 3, but that doesn't include gyms opening. In New Zealand, it will be at least another 2 weeks, possibly 4 weeks before the gyms are allowed to open.
Okay. And your team's working hard, engaging with members and doing their bit to keep them fit.
Yes, absolutely, and planning for how we're going to do it. Oh, Lynn Brick from America. Well done, Phillip and Colin. That's very nice to hear from Lynn. Lynn is one of the most experienced people in the industry. She was one of my heroes in the early 80s. She was one of the people whose aerobics videos I used to buy and who I learned a lot of stuff from. Lynn, hi, it's lovely to see you. A fabulous founding member of the global fitness industry.
Wow.
Will all fitness businesses survive? That's an interesting question, and that's obviously a very tough one. I know that most of the gyms who we deal with around the world can handle financially being closed for. And Victor Brick says hello too. There, that's very nice.
I met them in Miami at the.
It's good. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So, look, most gyms around the world who we work with, out of the 21,000 odd gyms who we work with around the world, have said they've got a couple of months of cash runway where they can stay in business. But most gyms, 3 or 4 months is going to kill them. So it is very important that gyms. But the regulations, it's important that we are allowed to open under regulations that do allow most people to come in. Otherwise, you're actually still running at a loss, and it's almost more expensive to open the gym because gyms have a lot of staff, and we've kept all of our staff on. We've had a bunch of government incentives to help us, but we have kept all of our staff on board. But if what I'm hearing from gyms around the world is, if we have to stay closed for more than a month or two, then there's a lot of fitness professionals who are going to lose their jobs. And the UK, the UK Trade Magazine has said that there will be up to 100,000 UK fitness professionals who will lose their jobs. There will be up to, I think, 2,500 gyms which will close, about 30% of the gyms in the UK, because the UK is saying now that they're not going to open again until
Sorry,
and that
Phil,
is
you froze.
Sorry,
so you froze then. When will they open in the UK? What month?
Yeah, there's been a few people trying to phone me.
Yes, sorry, I had the same.
Just had to turn the calls down. Sorry, but yes, they said as late as July. France has said July, and the UK is talking about at least June, possibly till the end of June. And the industry association there is saying that will be disastrous. We will see thousands of gyms and hundreds, maybe up to 100,000 people lose their jobs if that happens. And a lot of those gyms will close for good. Leisure centres and recreation centres with swimming pools, those facilities, once they're gone, it's going to be very difficult to get them open again, for instance. It is in society's interest to get the gyms open again as soon as we can. Again, back to people's health. If you want to really have a healthy population, we do have to get people exercising. And the big research paper that came out last year, 18,000 people in 12 countries, said that 33% of adults, people over 18 now in industrialized countries, are going to some kind of a gym. So that's a third of the global population of adults, that is, who are using gyms of some description, whether it's belonging to a club like Pure Fitness, or whether it is going to do CrossFit somewhere, or doing a Zumba class in a community centre or something like that. There's a third of the population now are going to gyms of some kind. And that's really important for health, really important for the future of our health system.
I totally agree. Well, I think our time's almost, some good comments. A lot of people thank us. So I want to take this opportunity. Well, Phillip, some closing, just say a few things in closing, and what would you like to tell everybody?
Hang in there, guys. This will pass. I'm pretty old, and I've lived through 4, maybe 5 recessions, and it's tough. But I think it can help us to restore a lot of our human values, remind us of what really is important. Hang in there, put one foot in front of the other, and things will get better in a year or two's time.
And I agree. And for myself, I think, listen, these are tough times, but out of this, there'll be some positive things, and hopefully people are going to lead healthier lives and look after the environment more and do what's right. And I think stay strong, build character. They say in a crisis you build character. So this is the time we've got to come out of this strong.
Here we do. And the environment is just such an important one, because climate change is a much bigger threat to the world than COVID is. And if we don't start dealing with that very quickly, we're going to have some serious problems.
I totally agree. So thank you.
And there's lots of things that go hand in hand. Healthy body, healthy planet. Eat well.
No, totally agree. I totally agree. Totally agree. And listen, a lot of people have logged in. So I want to thank all of you for taking an hour out of your day today and listening to Phillip and I. Hopefully you found it interesting. I certainly did. It's always good chatting with you, Phillip, and I look forward to coming down to Auckland and having a glass of wine.
Certainly look forward to the same thing.
So
out the other side of this con.
Definitely. So thank you, Phillip, and thank you, everybody. Take care, stay healthy, and be kind. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.